Hi, everyone. Dr. Dana Philisaint and Rochelle here, welcoming everyone back to another podcast of MindCare. This series, we have been discussing dealing with childhood traumas and its effects. This podcast aims to provide hope and answers and take away the stigmas of childhood traumas. Dr. Dana Philisaint is a professional counselor whose focus is on childhood traumas. Now, today's topic, we're going to talk about how to eliminate the stress after trauma. Hi, Dr. Dana Philisaint. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking.
Fantastic. Now, I know today's topic is something everybody can relate to. We're going to be talking about stress after trauma. And so I'm sure everybody listening knows what it feels like to be under stress. But what is the definition of stress?
Well, stress is commonly used when the body is reacting to challenges or demands that are brought upon them on a daily basis. So we encounter stress on a daily basis, most of us. And it can be both good experiences or from bad experiences as well. But the stressors itself can be something physical, emotional, environmental, or even something that's in someone's mind. But the bodies respond to it the same exact way for everyone.
Oh, wow. Now, you talked about the body's response to stress. Now, how does the body, react under stress?
Okay. So the hypothalamus controls the body's temperature and balances and brings things back into order. And that part of the brain also is the autonomic nervous system takes place, and part of the autonomic nervous system is the sympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is exactly what stimulates or what activates the fight or flight responses. And that's the automatic response that when we are under dangerous situation or stressful situation, it flows a stream of hormones that's bursting into our body to alert our hearts, and the heart rate starts going, the blood pressure rises, your respiration goes higher, and oxygen level, and all those things just kind of takes place as a result of that. But once the stress is removed, the body goes right back to normalcy because of how the body reacts and how the body tries to always bring things back into order.
Okay, so based off of what I was hearing you say, you're saying it was the hormones that are released that cause that pretty much everywhere all over your body, that type of response. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, good.
In addition to that, too, there's a neurological impact on the body. There is the endocrine system that's involved as well. The immune system is involved. All of those things takes place, and that's what's increasing the respiration, the heart rate, and blood pressure, and all those kinds of things as well.
Okay, so that goes into a different question. So what happens when a person stresses out? Is that ever a good thing?
Well, it depends. Stress alerts the body to react, okay? So if you're in a dangerous situation, you actually want your body to do certain things. And sometimes these things happen automatically because of how the brain and the body works together. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. And there's different types of stress. And so if it's a positive stress, so if you're, for example, about to do a presentation, you can kind of feel your heart rate beating a little faster. You probably start sweating a little bit much more. And that's okay. It's just your body's way of reacting to a little bit of stress. And once you get the presentation over or a thing is done, the motivation that you needed perhaps is what about the stress. And because you had the stress, you were motivated to get it done. So those kinds of stresses tend to be short-lived, very mild, and frequent, and it creates resiliency in people. And so it actually helps people to succeed and then to do well in life. So those are positive stresses that can be beneficial to individuals.
Okay. Now, you talked about types of stress. I know you talked about positive stress, but what type of stress is childhood trauma associated with the most?
Okay. The one that childhood trauma is mostly associated with is toxic stress. Toxic stress is more prolonged, is more at times permanent in people because the organs and everything else seem to be dysfunctioning, is not functioning the way it should be as a result of the stress that you're kind of putting yourself under as a result of the severity or the prolongedness of the event that took place. And what they're actually finding out is that your health is impacted. Your individuals with toxic stress can develop physical ailments or mental illnesses or even poor healthy living habits or have very poor coping skills or even poor stress management skills as a result of these toxic stress. So.
Oh, wow. Now, I know for those who are listening, you just mentioned toxic stress and it being permanent. So I know we want to bring hope back into this conversation. So the question is, for those who have experienced trauma, is toxic stress inevitable?
Well, that's a good question. The good news is it's not for everyone. It doesn't happen to everyone either. And one of the things that they're seeing is that if individuals have learn how to be resilient, which is the ability to properly adapt to adversity and despite the condition of things, or if they have support system, or if they learn how to do really good social problem skills, if they develop that, if they develop empathy, those kinds of things can counteract, the toxic stress that they experience. And so the hope is that you don't have to live under toxic stress as a result of the trauma if you develop empathy, if you develop good coping skills and those kinds of things, empathy as well.
Okay, great. I know you talked about resiliency and what you can do to counteract, but can you be more specific, and what can people do to actually eliminate the toxic stress that they're experiencing?
That's a good question. So, we talked about sympathetic nervous system, but the opposite of that as well is called the parasympathetic nervous system. So your body is actually trying to get back into normalcy. So there are things like deep breathing exercises. There's documents that's been done by researchers from the 1970s, one in particular, Herbert Benson. He talked about how relaxation responses actually counteract toxic stress, or stress in general. So, again, deep breathing exercises. Another one would be prayer, meditation is the second one. And another one would be reading uplifting books. And the opposite of that as well is to stay away from things that are fearful. So scary movies would not be a good thing to watch if you're under a lot of toxic. Good thing to watch at all, but stay away from things that get the heart rate pumping, and even amusement parks sometimes. You get that adrenaline going, so you don't want to mess around with your adrenaline. So, again, reading books that are uplifting. Another good thing to consider is deep Bible study. So when you're stimulating your mind to positively think on deep conversation about the Bible, so Bible study, having a dialogue with people on things about, how the world functions, how the world started, and those kinds of things will bring a good normalcy to your mind. And another way is to also engage in rest, sleeping, schedule your bedtime, turn off the electronics, make sure that your room is dark and a cool room. Some people might need to take a good bath of lavender oil to get their bodies well rested, or get to the point where they can get a well-rested night. And then the last thing I would say is do things outdoors. Nature has a way to counteract the body from being under stress, so petting animals or going out for a walk in the woods, those things also help. So those are 6 things I would say that would help an individual who seem to be in a toxic stress mindset or just being under stress as a result of trauma.
Dr. Dana, I really like those practical points. I just want to make sure I got some of them or most of them. Relaxation, rest, prayer, meditation, reading uplifting books, nature, being outside, making sure it's dark, or having a nice bath. I think those are practical tools that anyone, myself included, or the listeners can use to help eliminate toxic stress. So that is absolutely fantastic. Dr. Dana, did you have any final points?
No, just remember that we're here to serve you and to give you the information that we know is best, especially those individuals who are dealing with trauma, who have dealt with trauma, because it is possible to not be under long-term stress if you know what to do. So continue to stay engage with us, and we have information on our website for those who want to get more in-depth and one-on-one with us. They can contact us on our information online and continue to listen to these podcasts to give you more hope.
Fantastic. And the website is mindcare.us, mindcare.us. It was a pleasure, Dr. Dana, and to our listeners, definitely subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Thank you.